Hey, y'all. This is your girl, Erica, from the Dope Discussions with Erica podcast. Before we get into today's show, I just want to ask you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can meet us back here every Sunday at 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for all of our dope discussions. You don't want to miss them, do you? So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can meet us here and maybe even beat us here.
Dope Discussions Podcast. Dope discussions, gay to Erica, woke discussions. Mob ties, how they rock and think they both was cousins. Gifting you with their words so you might know you something. Just go and look for them live, they do it every Sunday. Every Sunday.
And we gon' give you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. It's gay to beat it, baby. Main state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the fire, baby, spark the joke. And we gon' bring you that dope. So talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me. And we gon' give you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' give you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, party people. We are back in the house. Welcome to another Dope Discussions with Erica and Gator.
Yes. I feel like I need to get something off my chest right quick.
Go ahead.
I just need to, is this thing on? Is this on? Okay, cool. All right, so the whole week, I've been listening to all of these people in the media, all these sports people talking about Green Bay. Green Bay. Oh, the Saints are going to get massacred. Oh, the Saints can't play at home because of the hurricane. Oh, Green Bay gonna stomp New Orleans. Putting my Who Dat Nation under the foot. Then the Succaneers fans on Thursday night come from out of nowhere talking about, oh, see, that's how you win a game. That's how you beat a real team. The Dallas Cowboys is a real team. Sorry. The Dallas Cowgirls are a real team. Oh, okay. But I heard that chirping. Everybody chirping. Today, oh yeah, y'all gonna be sad after this game. It's gonna be a blowout. Oh yes, it's gonna be a blowout. All right, it definitely was a blowout. They kept talking. What y'all gonna do? Y'all don't have breezes. Y'all don't have breezes. Well, verily, I say unto you in the Who Dat Nation, we didn't have to worry about that because we got a defense. And you know what? It was a blowout. 38-3. Jameis Winston threw five touchdowns.
But see, what had happened was...
Exactly. What had happened was they got their bus whooped. And I should have bet money on this game because I had people like, you gonna bet on your team? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I just got some funds. I was trying to Uber up my funds. But you know what? I got bragging rights tomorrow. I will be in the building and I will be proudly sporting my fleur-de-lis. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Welcome to the virtual congregation.
So, all together now. Who that say they gonna beat them Saints?
Not Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yes, we are back in the building. I am so happy to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Considering last Sunday, I became a ghost on my own show.
Right. I was like, what
Yes.
is going on? But it was cool looking. It looked like some like Blair Witch Project type stuff. So
Yes.
yeah. But it was cool looking.
Yes. So I have learned my lesson. I will not underestimate any hurricane named after a woman ever again.
I asked Erica before the show. I said, "Are we still doing the show? Don't you know they got a hurricane coming? Oh, that ain't gonna be the little storm, ain't or what? Okay."
And I
All
did
right.
the same thing for Katrina. I did the same thing for Katrina. I don't know what's wrong with me.
They say you better leave the boys. Oh, we have a Cowboys fan. Oh Lord, in the building.
We got a Cowboys fan. Who's that, Tony?
Looks like it. Oh Lord, I feel sorry for you, Dak. I love Dak, but yeah, y'all
Thank you, Ursula. Thank you. Yes, I am excited.
It is looking leopardicious.
Yes. So we are back in the house. We have a great topic for y'all today, and we have an awesome special guest. He's no stranger to the Dope Discussion Studio. Our boy Derrick Jones from the Relationship Gumbo is backstage. And today we are going to be talking about are we living in a trigger happy society? Pew, 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 pew.
Ooh, man. With the quickness, in the blink of an eye, one word is uttered, you have shots coming from all types of different directions.
Yes, we are living in a trigger happy society because our finger is always on that trigger, ready to pull it. So
definitely.
Especially in the day and age of social media, when all you have to do is post something, blow it up, and then walk off the stage.
Right, exactly. You got a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and they take advantage of that distance too. They've been social distancing way before the pandemic. They've been putting those shots out there, hoping and knowing that nobody can respond. But yeah, it's an epidemic in itself.
Yes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring our boy out. He's already backstage doing his stretches, getting himself together because he's getting ready. He ready. Look at him.
That's right. Here I am. I got my purple lights for the show and everything. I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
Purple rain.
This feels like home. Rain. I need a couch with a chase lounge thing on the side because I like my naps.
Yes.
Right. With a baby tiger like walking by
it. Yes, our family is in the house. Everybody, this is our boy Derrick Jones from the Relationship Gumbo podcast. He's no stranger, but I want him to go ahead and introduce himself again for all of you newcomers who's not familiar with us, me and Gator, who's not familiar with Derrick. Go ahead, Derrick, take the floor. Tell the people who you are.
I feel like I need Gator's voice for this, though. So, hey, everybody, my name is Derrick Jones. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, and I'm also the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And I just like helping people get to the nitty-gritty of why they're getting stuck and trying to figure out this relationship thing. And I get to the white meat, help you figure it out and send you on your way so you can have a better trajectory for your life. So I'm going to leave it there. Let's go. I'm ready for these triggers tonight. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I reached out to Derrick, I knew he was going to be the perfect person for us to have this conversation with because he triggers a lot of people on his show. If you ever in one of his live shows and you're in the comments, you're going to see people saying, I'm triggered. Oh, I'm triggered. Oh, you in my business.
Yep.
So we're going to get it started. First of all, I just want to say that the word triggered, it seems to have become like a mainstream buzzword. You see a lot of people saying it now. You hear a lot of people saying it now. And we just want to kind of dig into where did it even originate from? Who started it? Where did it come from? and how did it become, so popular for us to just say it in casual conversation? So what you think about that, fellas?
I'm gonna say I don't know. I feel like it's always been there, right? Like if you're like a therapist or a doctor, they've always used these words. I think now that we have access to more information, we can YouTube stuff. People are finally finding a way to give these things names, and then they just run with it. And so it may have one definition, but when you put it out there on the internet, it turns into 30. And so depending on who you talk to, they'll use it every day, literally, and you may or may not know what angle they coming in at, but yeah, I'm in a way I'm glad that people are at least aware that they may or may not have things that trigger them, so they at least can say, identify that thing does trigger me. So,
oh Lord, we already got somebody in the comments trying to start some stuff.
We got some triggering going on down there in the comments.
So Tony said we started
it. Oh Lord.
I mean, he said he's going to be Ray tonight.
Yeah,
I saw that.
He's going to be antagonistic.
Right. The terminology of triggering, that literally just means to start. That was the signal that was given, most of the time with shots of fire to start, whatever journey or whatever you were going down. And that's what happens. A lot of times people, they have that little thing that triggers, quote unquote, them. And then they go on this whole like tangent and, they get into this point where, they are, they take all of the things that they have bottled up, and it's almost like once they're triggered, it's the go time for them to let all of those things out. And we see that so much today that it's become commonplace. Now certain buzzwords you can't even use, because if you use it, all of a sudden you go open the floodgates, and here comes, 50 comments about what you just said. And it could be something just as simple as a particular word or referencing a particular event. There's a lack of understanding when it comes to being able to open that dam and let all of your emotions out.
Right. So for me, I was doing some research the other night, and it seems to be that the word trigger started where, like Derrick said, with therapists for people who are suffering from PTSD, because if they've gone through something major and traumatic, any little thing that remind them of that event will take them right back, like they're reliving it all over again. And so that's where they got the word trigger from. It's like pum, and then that person is right back there where they were when that event happened. And so, when it went to mainstream and we just started using it casually, I feel like sometimes we can take something that's kind of serious and then make light of it. And then it starts to lose its impact when you hear it over and over again. For example, remember when we started using the saying, we're going to go postal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To signify you're going to go to your job and you're going to go off, or you're going to, shoot up a bunch of people, when that originated from a real event that happened and somebody really went crazy and killed a lot of people at their job. And so we took something that was really tragic and really serious, and we started using it, as a buzzword, as a slang term, and then it lost its impact.
Yeah, and I do want to add on to that too. That's generally what dilutes the whole meaning of the word trigger is when we don't have this trigger, but we hijack somebody else's trigger and try to make it our own, like it's something that actually triggered us, like these things that offend people, right? You may not be offended, but you see somebody else offended, you be like, oh yeah, now I'm offended too. And it's like, wait, hold on, you was good for a minute. What happened? And it's like going postal. So now somebody could be at work and say, yeah, if that boss come in here, I'm gonna go post. Hold on, man. That's not you. You just you heard that on TV. Like what, that's not a real. So I think in a sense, when you look at it like that, it's kind of dangerous because now in a way, because there's some positive things that come out of this too. Sometimes like movements will start. But the even more dangerous thing is if it's something really serious and it's not really that's not really coming from you, and then you acting stuff out because you saw somebody else do it, then it's like, come on, like what are you doing?
Right. And then in social media, it starts to become a thing where it's cool.
Yep.
You triggered me. That triggered me. And it's like, just because somebody says something that pissed you off or offended you, that's not a trigger. So we have to be careful with not letting people come and just take the word over and take away what it really means and the significance of it.
Right. And I think some people actually use it as a badge of honor, which is a sad part. Like if there's something that they want to identify with. And we saw this a lot with the George Floyd incident, where there were a lot of people who came out and said they were triggered, but they were literally, it became a thing where it became almost a buzzword. Oh, I was triggered by this. I was triggered by this. And they were using it to get like points, quote unquote, from people, like the social justice warriors that were, trying to make themselves look like they were. I mean, you had people who had no type of identification with the community or with anything that was going on. I knew people who used the terminology and they never even saw the video. And but it was something they could say to be part of the tribe that was going through the issues that they were going through.
Yeah. It's the popular thing to do now.
The popular thing, right.
Trending.
Right. Okay, let's see. We got some comments in here. We got Love Tucker. People also use the word as a means to shut down a conversation. Yes. Yes. That's a good point. Sometimes people will say that triggered me, so you can stop talking about something, or they just want to shut the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people can use it as manipulation, or I think some people can use it as that triggers me, so don't do that, in order to make people walk on eggshells around them, or don't say certain things around them, or don't do certain things around them.
Yeah.
And also, if you're advertising the things that trigger you, be careful the ears that it falls upon, because some people can try to use that against you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sad that people can use that word to shy away from difficult conversations that need to be had. It's almost like kicking the can down the road. Saying, okay, I'm triggered by it. And don't get me wrong, some people are triggered by certain things that happen in conversation, but some conversations still need to be had. And it's those that manipulate the word or the phrasing just to keep from having those difficult conversations that are the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think also too, a lot of people kind of they overlook the fact that a lot of the things that trigger you can be, they won't necessarily disappear, but you can manage them better. And that in seeking out the why is huge. But a lot of people, like, it's almost just like when somebody be like, well, I'm crazy. You just gonna have to deal with it. And it's like, you don't have to be crazy. Like you don't have to be. Sometimes triggers come from trauma and things like that. But you also have to also look at too, depending on what it is, that's how you're going to show up in certain situations. And a lot of times it's not good. Like these dudes, they walk past you on the street, you look at them a certain way, they think you're going to do, and there's no evidence that you're going to do something. It's like they ready to jump. And it's like, hold on, man. Like So yeah, so I'm gonna land my plane there.
Right. And that's the danger of it too, is that when it becomes popularized, we will stick in it because, especially in like a therapeutic setting, once you identify the things that trigger you, that's half of the work.
Right.
The second half is working on those things that trigger you so that they don't trigger you anymore, or that the intensity is
Yeah.
lessened to where, last year, if somebody said a certain thing to me, it probably would have set me off. But this year, they can say that same thing to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool.
Right.
That don't bother me no more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just put like. Oh, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry, Gator.
No, I was like, again, that's a whole scenario about kicking the can down the road. I mean, they're, using, hiding behind that word so that they can heal, so that next year around this time, they can have that healing, that they need from that particular issue or that particular situation. They'll just continue to kick that thing down the road. And next thing you know, next year, the year after that, they're still triggered by that incident or, by the wording of
Hmm.
what they're being forced to encounter.
Hmm.
And I just also wanted to say too, like, and we also have to be careful. Like, it's certain reactions that we have to triggers, and those ones that kind of make you like angry or even get you to the point of rage, like that. Those are the ones you gotta be careful, especially when you're out in public dealing with people. And this is the thing about triggers. If it's a human being that triggers you, but they don't know you, they don't know that that's your trigger, and then you just pop off and you start going crazy, want to beat somebody up because they did something that triggered you. And we have to realize that there's some people that maliciously, because they know that's your trigger, especially like we're in relationships, they know. We always say, what buttons to push. It's
Right.
the same thing. Some people will do it on purpose, but a lot of people don't even realize that that's your trigger until they see the reaction, and then it's like, whoa, wait, what did I do? So yeah.
Your triggers can become your puppet strings.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I want to get this type of reaction out of her, I know to do this or I know to do that. And so there's so much value in identifying what they are and then fervently working on them so that those things don't trigger you anymore and you're at a place of peace. And I know for me personally, I used to avoid certain people or avoid certain situations because I knew those were triggers for me, but that wasn't helping me. Avoiding those things, I wasn't doing the active work on them. I wasn't getting any better because I can only avoid something for so long until I get into a situation that's unavoidable or unexpected. That trigger still hasn't been dealt with. It still hasn't been healed. So in some form or fashion, it's going to come out if I don't do the work on it.
Yep. Yeah. I was just thinking about people that have road rage. Like if somebody cut you off, and then it's something that it's something that snap, and they be ready to follow you home. He going all through the traffic and trying to find you. And I'm like, so what happens when you catch them? Like the outcome could be a bunch of things, and some of them may not be in your favor, but it's like a switch that goes off in people. And I don't know, like road rage, I don't know, like when people get to that point where they chasing somebody, I don't know what could have caused that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a couple things, but.
And during the time that you're chasing them, is there never a point where you realize I need to stop? Because I don't know what might happen once I do catch them. They might be triggered too.
Yeah.
Or they might already have their finger on the trigger when I get there. So please, please don't let your triggers get you killed.
Right, exactly. I used to fuss at my play sister Taisha, and she's a fan of Dope Discussion. So hey Taisha, how you doing? But she know I'm gonna tell on her. She used to have road rage really bad to the point to where somebody get cut off the traffic, she would follow that person.
Yeah.
And literally one day she pulled in behind this lady, and there were like 3 police cars waiting on her because the lady had called the police and was like, "This lady's behind me. I don't know what she's gonna do." So yeah, I mean, it ain't worth the the drama and the stress.
Yeah, me and my girlfriends had a similar situation like that. I think it was maybe Labor Day. It was one of those holidays, and we were on our way to Walmart to buy stuff for a barbecue. And when we pulled into the parking lot, this white girl and white guy were in a car, and we were trying to cross at the same time. So my friend, she had this little, what was those Jeeps back then? It was I can't remember the name of this little Jeep. So she jutted off in front of them, and the girl hollered out of her window and said, "You black B."
Oh,
what she do that for?
Trigger word.
Yes.
right.
So when she said that, we skidded around and we chased her through the parking lot, and we had just came out of the store. We had all the stuff we were going to use for the barbecue. We had one of those big, 24 cases of eggs. We emptied all of those.
Oh
eggs.
No.
Then when we ran out of eggs, we started throwing soda cans.
Dang. Soda cans hurt.
Uh-huh.
Like eggs might be a little messy. Soda cans cause were they empty soda cans?
And no.
Oh, see, that's even worse.
What we gonna throw empty ones for?
You slinging cold drinks at folks. They could break windows.
Right. We wasn't kidding. We was mad. So some kind of way she must have gotten the license plate number. So when we made it back to our friend's house, a few minutes later, the police showed up and was asking us, what happened at Walmart today? Ain't nothing that happened at Walmart. So he just gave us a warning, and we went on with our day. But yeah, triggers. So
last week we were introduced to Ghost Erica. This week we were introduced to Hood Erica.
So no,
that was way back in the day.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing how like a single word could just flip a switch.
Pew.
Just like that. Like I don't know why this came to my mind, but you know, the other white meat folks, the women, it's the C word that will send them over the edge. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say it on the air. They go crazy, and I'm like, damn.
When I first heard that word, I was like, what they so mad about? What is that?
But I mean, you talk about a triggering word. You can call them everything but a child of God. But if you call them that one word,
it's over.
It's over.
I was like, well, let me go look up this word and see what it means, because it makes them mad.
And see, what I learned about myself over time, because I had to learn how to keep myself from going to rage. Like upset, frustrated. I can live there for a minute, but I had to tell myself, this is what I have to tell myself every time. If I allow any human being to get me to rage, that means they have more control over me than I do.
Right.
I have to keep telling myself that. And so a lot of times my reaction may not be, unless, you know, you mess with my kid or my family, then it's something, then you know, whatever. But you on the phone with a customer service, they might make you mad, but come on, like these people be going like ballistic, and I'm like, hold on, man, bring it down. We allow people to get us to these points where we damn near stroke out because we so rageful about it. And I made a vow with myself that I would not allow a human being to get me there, because then they controlling my actions. And then what comes after that, you just never know. Like you black out. I'm not trying to be there, man. I can't allow myself to be there.
Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
man.
why I limit my time on social media because you can get wrapped up in that and you will be pissed off all day long from the different things that people say that they just don't care who it affects and who they hurt. And then a lot of
Right.
people are they actually doing that on purpose because they're so miserable and hurt. They want to transfer that off of themselves
Yep.
and put it on somebody else.
Right, exactly.
And there's millions of people they out there, like we said, trigger happy. They waiting for you to say something
Yep.
crazy because
Yep.
they ready to argue.
Right. That's one of the things, when you dealing with in customer service, you get that a lot. And one of the things I used to handle escalations, and it's really all about de-escalation. And de-escalation starts with yourself. And de-escalation is, literally taking things that might trigger you and saying, why is it triggering me? Should it even trigger me? I'm not gonna let this trigger me. I'm just going to be, because this person, most times when you're dealing with somebody like that, this is somebody you don't even know. They're not right in front of you. They're not, and this is what bothers me about the whole triggering thing online, because a lot of times people get triggered by things they see online. And these are people you don't know. You can literally turn away from the computer. You can turn away from, seeing these things. But when we see certain things, we want to jump right back into it. We want to jump in the chat and start talking about these things with people because we feel some type of way, unfortunately.
Yeah. I've done that several times and I had to catch myself like, wait.
Yeah, me too.
Especially when old boy was president last time and all of those people started coming out. Them comments had me on fire.
Yes. I just, my unfollow button became real popular.
Yeah.
Unfollow, block.
Block them. Block
And
them.
I had to develop this mantra for myself. It's don't take anything personal from somebody you don't know personally.
Yeah,
right.
Bingo. It's the easiest and the hardest thing to do sometimes, though.
Especially when people make blanket statements and generalizations and they say, a whole group of people, all of y'all are like this, all of y'all do that.
Right.
That type of stuff is.
My trigger word is never. You tell me that I never did something, I go in my mind. I'm like, wait, so like my whole life? Or are you just talking about today? Because you can't. They did that to me at work a couple of times, and I'm like, hold on, I've been here 21 years. I never did the job right. Don't say that in front of people. It's a problem. It was a problem. You can see me getting in now. It's a problem. Like, that word right there. Unless it's actually true, which it isn't most of the time, because some people will get to the point you do stuff and then there'll be that one time you forget it or you do it wrong and they be like, you don't never. That for me, I see red. I can't.
You don't never, or you always do this.
Yeah, I can't. That I know it sounds trivial, but that thing right there, something as small as that,
for real.
Have to be like, wait.
That'll be it right there. Don't you satellite my name. don't you satellize my name.
You out here satellizing and sabotaging my name.
Right. I don't like being called a lie. You know what I'm saying? Because that in itself is like, it's almost like, Derrick, when you and never. When you say, oh, I think you're lying about, oh, no, wait a minute, hold up. Oh, wait. And it's a completely different gear it goes into at that point.
Ooh, one of my big things is a person who knows everything.
Yeah.
They know something about everything. I was working at this mattress store some years ago, and this girl, she got newly hired. She had worked at another mattress store before, so when she came in, she was like, oh, I don't even need to go through this training. I already know, this job, and it's not going to take me long before I'm a manager, and so I'm supposed to be training her. She's standing over my back telling me what I should be doing, and I should do it this way because this way is better. I was like, I looked over my shoulder. I said, y'all better get her away from me. Because a person who can't listen and learn from somebody else, I can't be around them because I will go off.
Yeah. This topic is like we're laughing and looking at these examples, but there's a lot of instances where people really need to get some real help. I want to, if I may, pivot it a little bit back there, because I think even when you talk about PTSD, right? And I did some shows about this a while ago, just on relationships and stuff. Like, we always think about military, but there's so many things in our lives that we have post-trauma from, whether you broke up from somebody or something, and we deal with that stuff, and that's how we show up. We think we hiding it, but it's really like it shows up in your relationships, it shows up at work, and we don't even realize that it's something that's happening to nowhere, like we talked about earlier, to figure out the why. Like, why am I reacting this way towards this woman or this guy? And I just met them. All he did was look at his phone for 2 seconds while we was eating dinner, and now I want to, block him from everything. And it's like, hold on, wait, that was the last dude.
Right.
Yes. And that specific incidents right there, I had an epiphany, maybe like after 2 weeks of avoiding her. And every time she was in the building, I would make sure I was on the opposite side of the building. And after doing that, I thought to myself one night, I was like, why am I avoiding this girl? What is it about her that I'm so afraid of, that she's going to take me out of my character? So that means that she has power over me if she can make me react in a way that I don't want to. And then I thought about how I had prayed to God for growth. And I was like, I prayed to God to help me grow and understand myself better. And then he gave me a situation where I could grow from and get better at a certain thing. And I ran from it.
Yeah.
So that's when I, started saying, I'm not going to run from this girl no more. I'm going to talk to her. I'm not going to avoid her. And if she does something that get on my nerves, I'm going to learn how to not let it get to me anymore.
Yeah. It's
Definitely.
It's tough. I just want to interject a little bit. We have to be mindful of how we show up, and we also have to be self-aware of ourselves, right? Like, if we know that we're reacting or doing something that's not a part of like who we are, that's your moment where you're like, wait, why am I doing this? It's so difficult to see yourself in that way. But if you get to a point where you can do that, then you grow from that. Like when you show up, like I'll give you an example, because Derrick got stories. So like when I was in a relationship where I thought I was doing everything, and then that person basically just kind of spit on it. It was like, yeah, whatever, that, yeah, you doing all that, but it don't matter. The next relationship I was in, I didn't do it at all. And the person I was with was like, Derrick, why aren't you doing like this basic stuff? Because my trigger, here's the big nugget that I'm going to tell you. Sometimes the trigger isn't a thing they do. Sometimes it's just the fact that it's a woman or a man. And they're going to catch it all because of something else. And the trigger is the fact that you're dealing with another human being that just happens to be a gender. It goes that broad. And we do that. And we take it out on them. Right? Y'all know I'm the master of that. When you take it out on the other person, number one, it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you, because you showing up and you're not yourself. We got to look at, am I acting out of character? And I got to check it. Sometimes you got to get help for it, but we got to check ourselves too.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's really important. Actually, I think Love actually said that earlier, where she said, triggers are often the things that we sweep under the rug and don't address. And I think that's a really big thing, is to make sure that you are self-identifying. your own triggers, and trying to actively find solutions for those things that you find that are triggering. But one of the other things that I know I've encountered before, and I've seen this happen, if you know you're not healed from a particular thing, if you know certain things are going to trigger you, it might be best to not engage those things that are going to be triggering you. For example, we talked about, as was said earlier, the tangerine terror earlier. There were a lot of people who knew that if they got on in this chat, or if they got online and were on, following certain posts, that they were going to be triggered by something that was going to be said. They knew if they were sitting there watching Fox News, they was going to be triggered by something that Tucker Carlson said, or they was going to have something to say. But they consistently exposed themselves to that.
They call it trauma porn. Trauma
porn. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It was almost like it was something that they wanted, that trauma. They wanted, to release all of that energy. That's not always healthy, especially when it's stuff that's more personal.
Right. And the thing about that is we have to be able to separate the things that we have the power to change and the things that are out of our power.
Right.
Other people's opinions and beliefs and perspectives, that's outside of our realm of control. We can't control what other people think, how they feel, what they say. So we don't need to be getting triggered by those things, because we can't change those things. We can only change the things that are controlled within us. And so when you be able to separate those things and realize this is something within me that needs to be healed, that needs to be worked on, then I can work on that. But what other people do, that ain't none of my business.
Right.
And if people are saying something that's negative, that's going to make me have a negative reaction, block, unfollow. You're not in my news feed no more.
Right.
And then it's not going to change anything. I mean, it's not. I mean, I can't change their minds. So what am I engaging for?
Right. We got to start making it a point to start detoxifying our social media feeds.
Yeah.
When it comes to like Facebook, and even when you see people who have opinions that are not necessarily supported by you, it's all right to not see that. It's okay to, not be triggered, to not have to consistently put that in front of you. Some things are not good for you. If I'm sitting there and I'm following, I bring up Fox News, for example, or OAN, or one of them. If I'm following these particular news organizations, and I know that every time I see a post from them, I'm upset, I'm mad, I'm huffing and puffing. Maybe I don't need to follow them. Maybe I need to clean that, get that out of my life. Make my feed, which is your feed, a place of peace. Nobody's making you follow a certain person. Nobody is making you have to read a certain post.
Right.
Yeah. And that when you say peace, right? This is something that I had to learn, even just in recent years, how important your peace of mind, your mental clarity. I know we got a lot of things going on, but if you make that important to you, then a lot of this stuff, you'll realize that it's not giving you that. And then you're like Erica, right? Let's use Erica for an example. I don't know when you started, but you was like, I'm getting off of Facebook. I need to focus. This stuff is a distraction. And you literally took the action. Because a lot of us say that, right? And we say, oh, I give up on drinking, and then we'd be at the bar next week. Erica actually did that, right? And then I want to say, within a couple of days, she was like, I'm glad I did it, because I really don't miss it. And I'm really focusing on what I need to do. And I was like, that's it. If we know that something is causing us to behave away or think away or be distracted, if we know, first of all, you have to know what that peace feels like. If you don't know what it feels like, then the chaos feels like you're chilling. But once you get to a place where you can detach and really get to know yourself and what that feels like, then you're always going to want it at some point. And you're going to realize when you don't have it, and you can be like, wait. And sometimes it takes it, in this era that we're in, getting off of social media is a drastic action. Some of us need it, right? So when you say I'm getting off of this, that's a huge step. So I commend you, Erica, for doing that. I know a lot of people do it.
Oh yeah,
I probably need to do it too, but yeah.
Thank you. And I realized it's an addiction like any other addiction. I was addicted to it. And then I was tested a couple of days ago because I got a message from one of my Facebook friends. And she was like, I know you're taking a break. And I know, you said you didn't know when you were going to be coming back, but I'm waiting for you to come back with a boom. And I was like, that old inclination came back to me because that was the reason why I was so addicted to it, because I felt like people were depending on me to put out inspirational messages. And if I didn't put something out, I felt bad. I was like, because people are waiting for it. They're asking me for it. They're depending on it. And I don't want to let them down. Mm-hmm. And so that was causing me anxiety and stress, even on some of the days when I didn't have anything inspirational to say. I would try to find something to make up something to give the people what they wanted. I was putting an obligation on me that I really didn't have to do. And so when she inboxed me that day, that kind of brought me back to that. And I was like, no, I've been feeling too good off of it. I'm not finna let nobody pull me back in there.
Right. And that's when, it's a bad situation when, a tool that you had been using literally to inspire others became something that was kind of crushing. Mm-hmm. It was crushing you that you weren't inspiring others, but it was like, when you see situations like that, it's almost like, what do you do? Well, you did the right thing. It's like, look, let me step away and get myself together, because at the end of the day, you can't inspire nobody if you're not feeling inspired. If I got to inspire this person, so I feel crushed as I'm trying to inspire this person, then you're not being the example that you are literally setting out to be in that scenario.
That old people pleasing demon was coming back.
Yeah.
Or actually it had morphed into something else, because when I'm inspiring people on social media, but I'm neglecting myself, that's still another form of people pleasing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting them before myself.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this real quick. I feel your pain on that one. And here's the thing, right? This is what, and I talked about this a few times, but this is what a lot of people don't realize about the work we do as coaches, people who are therapists, and these healing type of things that we choose to do when we inspire people and we teach people and we coach people. And there's a huge part of you that has to empathize with people and almost, you have to be somewhat of a people pleaser just to be able to grow your audience. And what people don't realize is that while you're doing that so often, that it takes parts of you that you have to recharge. And if you don't take that time to recharge, you burn out, and then you're no help to anyone. So to Erica's point, you do have to, from time to time, you have to detach from it in order for you to be that inspirational person that a lot of people need to see. You need to put yourself. I'm the pot calling the kettle black. Putting yourself on that priority list at the top of that thing, because we can't. This is something that I've had to come to grips with, because I'm the super people pleaser. You really have to realize that if you go down, then all that stuff you're doing crumbles below. Like you have to put yourself there. And I know Alicia's watching, and that she's like, yeah, you need to listen to yourself. But I'm a work in progress. But yeah, man, this what we do. And even with you being on here, Gator, every week, when we have these conversations, people need to realize that as much as we inspire and teach and coach, that we need to recharge too. So I just wanted to land there.
Yeah, it's important. Definitely. I feel like coaches need to be coached, therapists need therapy, pastors need a pastor, leaders need to be led. Everybody needs somebody to pour back into them while they're pouring out what they're giving to people. You always got to get recharged in some way. So it's got to be that's why it's so important at this point in my life that I have reciprocal relationships. Like you said the other night,
Yep.
I've spent so much of my life having one-sided relationships, and it really wasn't the other person's fault because I set it up that way
Yeah.
because of my people-pleasing tendencies. And then I would get resentful at that person, but I set them up to be that way.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
at this point in my life, I'm making sure that my relationships are reciprocal. And when I see that I'm not getting back what I'm putting in, I back away.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely. Look at
So
this.
y'all got anything y'all want to close us out with before we wrap it up?
Well, I think Miss McKinney says it best. I mean, a lot of this goes back, even going to the triggering topic. A lot of this kind of comes back to like self-care. There's not enough people who are worried about self. Many times they're worried about what everybody else got going on and
Mhm.
ourselves. Sometimes we're so worried about what is going on around us and surrounding us that we're not looking enough inward to figure out why certain things are triggering us, you know. And what we're seeing in our little microcosm in ourselves, remember that there's 7 billion people who are doing the same exact thing. And I think, you know, it's important that we do stress to people the way to kind of get out of a trigger happy society is to make sure that people are taking care of themselves and are looking inward to try to heal from things that might be triggering. And also not participating in what Derrick was calling trauma porn, getting away from those things that are triggering. There are people who watch CNN literally because they know it's going to make them mad.
Yep.
You know, so they want to be angry. They want to be aggressive. They got people who sat there and watched Lil Nas X videos. I know a girl now who is so upset about that. But she sits there, she's watched, I've watched the video 10 times and it just gets more disgusted every time. Why are you watching?
Why are you watching that? I refuse
Why are you
to watch it.
continuing to, you know, watch these things that are making you feel this way? That in itself is an issue.
I don't know. Some people are a glutton for punishment, or they feel like if I can't feel angry, I mean I need to feel something. They got to make themselves feel something. But that's a feeling I don't want to enforce on myself. Anger, bitterness.
Yeah, and I'll my I guess my closing statements would be, especially because me and Erica was talking about this earlier about how your mental state affects you physically. If you know you're that person that gets angry all the time, there's gonna come a point in your life where you're gonna get to a certain age and it ain't gonna be nice. And I don't wish that on anybody, but that walking around with that stuff, carrying that anger and that rage, it's not healthy to you or the environment, meaning your kids, your family, your job. All of that stuff gets affected by that. And also the other point I wanted to make too was triggers. Having triggers is a human thing. It's how you deal with them that determines whether you grow from it or not. Because I always have to tell my daughter when she gets mad, I'm like, you're allowed to be mad, but how you behave once you get there determines what's going to happen next.
Right.
You can be mad. I give you permission to be upset because you're human. But after that, we got to figure out how to manage the behavior that comes behind the anger, and that's really like, you know, it takes some of us longer to learn these things than others, and some people don't. But I'm telling you, your life will be more fruitful if you learn how to manage yourself during these situations better. And sometimes you can't figure it out on your own. Maybe it's something really, you may need to go sit with a therapist and figure out, like, why am I going so just crazy over this thing that this person does, and I don't know where it comes from. Matter of fact, here's a real quick example before we get off of here. I told this story a couple times. I don't even know who showed, but I had a woman on my show that was an actual therapist, right? And she's married, and every now and then I always talk about taking the trash out. Her husband would forget to take the trash out. and she would go ballistic at him about the trash. And she eventually got to a point where she had to really sit with herself and say, am I really mad about the trash? Why is the trash triggering me? Why is it making me go to 10 when I probably should be at 2? Like that.
Right.
And she was like, is it really the trash? Like, this is a great man. He does everything he's supposed to do. But that right there, I go in on him about it. And I was like, we have to really look at how we react to things and figure once again, she could be upset that he don't take it out, but it's what you do after.
Yes.
That's what you need to control. And so I just wanted to put that in there because I think a lot of us do it. And whatever that was probably came from somewhere in her past, and now he catching it. We got to look at how we treat people. We got to look at these things that trigger us and really manage it better, because managing it better has nothing to do with them and everything to do with you.
Right. And we have to realize, if we can come to the table and tell people what our triggers are and what bothers us, but they're not obligated to deal with it just because you're putting it out there.
Right.
You know, I can come to you and say, you know, I get pissed off when you don't come home by 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you have to be at home at 10:59 every night just because Erica's going to go off if I'm not home by 11. That's something that you choose to deal with or not. Yeah.
And a lot of times too, real quick, sometimes, especially when you're dealing with triggers that happen and it's attached to someone you really care about, one of the most underrated things is just letting them know, like, this affects me. And then allow that person to say, oh man, this came from when you was little. Oh, okay. Now I may not be able to stop it, but at least I know, like, I might have to kind of manage things better because I know now how it affects you. If you never had that conversation, what motivation do they have to stop or to at least consider? And then what happens over time, your pissed off goes from 0 to 5,000 over 6 months. And then now you got a relationship that probably won't last because of that thing that you didn't, that one little thing. So,
exactly.
Right.
So before we get out of here, Derrick, you got anything you want to plug? Anything you got coming up?
I always have stuff to plug. So tomorrow night, the Real Shop Talk, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to www.realshoptalk.net. 5 men, no agendas. We're just talking. Actually, tomorrow's a special night because we have Love Tucker's on the show tomorrow. It's ladies' night. Once a month we do ladies' night. We bring ladies on the show and we talk about issues that plague men and women, and we have a dialogue about it. And tomorrow we're talking about do you show up as a traditional or a modern woman in your relationship, ladies? What gang you represent? so we gonna talk about that and the nuances of it, because this is something that in this modern age that we're in 2021, it's people literally having fights about, should you be traditional or more modern, or should you be a hybrid of the two? We're gonna get through all of that tomorrow, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk it out, and we always like to champion these conversations and bring ladies in, because we don't want to have an echo chamber where it's just we don't always agree as gentlemen, but we definitely don't want to leave you guys out, because y'all are part of the community. This is how we build with each other. We can't leave y'all. We can't never ever leave you guys out. So that's Monday. Then Wednesday is is my podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just you can find me. I'm all over the place. Relationshipgumbo.info. Everything's there. Just follow if you're not following Erica, follow Eric. Like we all family here. Follow everybody. Go in the comments and follow everybody in the comments. Just follow. So that's all I got.
Yes. Well, me and Gator will be on Triumphant TV with Tony Watts next Friday.
Yeah.
Next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we will be there with Tashura Talks. and we're going to be chatting it up with Tony on Triumphant TV. So y'all go ahead and get ready for that. Set your reminders. We'll be over there with Tony next Friday. Looking forward to it.
Most definitely. That's going to be a good time. That's definitely going to be a good time.
Absolutely. That's all family. See, y'all in the comments. See how we rock with each other. I love it, man.
And thank y'all so much in the comments. I love you guys. We have formed a village and a family with everybody in the comments. We all support each other. And when you go to one of the shows, you're going to see all of us in those comments. So you'll be seeing familiar faces, and the people in the comments, go ahead and connect with them, follow them, see what they are also doing, because they're all awesome people. Also have great messages. They are very helpful, because we can't do this by ourselves.
Nope,
we're trying to form a village of like-minded people so we can, pass this information on to the next generation. We don't want them to be lost, and we don't want them to be trigger happy.
Right. Speaking of trigger happy, I think I triggered some people. I triggered some Cowboy fans. Cowgirls fans earlier. Yeah. I apologize. I really don't apologize.
Yes.
I really don't.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
Waiting on some bandwagon fans. We 38-3. Yeah, look, y'all can jump on.
Y'all come on over. We'll take y'all. We won't reject y'all. We'll take y'all.
Right.
Let's see. Before we get out of here, Tashira laughing at you, Gator.
Hey, I'm just saying. Look, who that?
Before we get out of here, who that? Who that saying to go beat them? Look. I know you're not covering your ears, Derrick. We
I ain't got no dog in none of these fights, so I'm just laughing at all of y'all for real.
Look, there's a reason this show comes on at 7:30, because when we had it at 6 Central, that was too early because the Saints games was still on. So we started doing it at 7:30, 6:30.
Oh, he's gonna say the wheels are loose. We'll see how loose they wheels are.
Look, we all-terrain vehicles over here. They ain't loose. They climbing on up the mountain. Go ahead. Look, I got my hand out. My hand is stretched out. Come along.
Good night, y'all.
Peace out, everybody.